Mandalorian has been gracing our streams for a little while now, and now that Boba Fett has made a little appearance in Season 2, you can't help but wonder, what happened to the Mandalorians? The Mandalorians are arguably the most badass of all Star Wars cultures. Their entire culture is about kicking ass, taking credits, and always looking stylish in that armor of theirs.
So fancy and shiny.
But despite all their badassery, something happened to the Mandalorians between the Clone Wars and the destruction of the Empire. The Great Purge caused the Mandalorians to flee their home planet and remain in hiding to ensure their survival. But now that Din Djarin is making a big name for himself across several different systems, it's only a matter of time before he starts rallying forces behind the Mandalorian name. That's why we think our little Mando will rebuild Mandalorian civilization. Let's discuss this, shall we?
I love Star Wars.
Don't we love Star Wars? I have so much Star Wars merch. You know, I still have actually a Force Awakens poster I got from the midnight premiere.
Oh, no.
Oh, Zach, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a nice long day at work, and now I'm ready to put in that real grind and talk about Star Wars The Mandalorian, a series which I know oh so much about.
Well, we'll have to put that to the test then. Let's see if the audience is as up to speed about Mandalorian lore as we are, shall we?
Yeah, let's see if they can keep up with me. I've been known to go faster than light speed. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? You see what I did there? It's a Star War.
It's a Star War. So let's do a little recap to get up to speed on where the Mandalorians are now. The Mandalorians have been around for a long time. Their home planet is that of Mandalore, based in the Mandalore system, and have a culture that's very focused on battle and honor, right? Din Djarin isn't genetically Mandalorian. He just became Mandalorian, right? Din Djarin, the main character of the Mandalorian series, he joined after being orphaned as a kid, because the Mandalorians are a creed, not a race, right?
Yeah, but that's not the case with Jango and Boba Fett, right?
Well, because that's the thing, right, is that Jango and Boba Fett in the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series, see, Jango, according to the Mandalorian government, was just someone who stole the Mandalorian armor and isn't actually of the creed. See, this is the weird thing, and we'll jump into this in a bit. See, all you really need to do to become a Mandalorian is be accepted by a clan of the Mandalorians, and then you just become one. And another thing to note is that it's within their culture to take in orphans of war. If they come across children who've been left to their fate, they will never just leave them there. Din Djarin was saved by Death Watch, a subsection of Mandalorians, before they allied with the Sith, repelling droid attacks and then accepting Djarin as a foundling. And because of the years of conquest, the Mandalorians controlled a lot of what was called Mandalore space, spanning across several colonies, which spawned different clans that allied under several houses, which all came together to form the Mandalore government. It's needlessly complicated, but
we love it because it's Star Wars,
it's so
and that's
cool.
how Star Wars do. Needlessly complicated. Okay, so in the series The Mandalorian, the Mandalorians are scattered, right? Din Djarin was originally part of the tribe, a remnant group of Mandalorians who were hiding about the sewers on Navarro. They bounty hunted to gather resources for future generations. It's all this good fun stuff.
Yeah.
But they weren't like this before, right? Because Mandalore was a very powerful planet's worth of like super troopers, basically, who ages even before the Clone Wars flip sides between the Jedi and the Sith as to whatever suited them. But mostly what they did was hire out their services to the highest bidder. So
they were all about that hustle grind, bro. They were all about that hustle grind, you know? They were
no matter,
those
look,
creds.
but despite being a great planet, according to the client from Season 1, Mandalore resisted the Empire's expansion after the reformation of the Republic. What happened then was the Great Purge, which, from what we found out from Moff Gideon, was essentially a massacre of Mandalorians, which is not cool, not very nice, not very
Not
epic.
at all. Not
but this
legit.
caused
that he did not pass the vibe check.
It is not very cash money. So this caused many of them to flee their own planet, which left the Mandalorians in the state they're in, which is not a very good one.
No, not at all. Not at all. I doubt they've tricked out those sewers in Navarro very much, you know.
I don't think it's like a Ninja Turtles lair yet.
Yeah, I don't think some fairy lights are gonna make the
I don't care how many LEDs and like sad sad lo-fi music you play. It's not a vibe, champ. It's not a vibe. So after Din Djarin finds Baby Yoda, you know, baby I am, the tribe comes out of hiding to help him escape, which leads to more Mandalorians dying, which is, you know, exactly what they needed. And according to the armorer, hopefully fleeing the planet. So it's a win in the end, right?
So this is what we know so far. Mandalore suffered greatly after resisting the Empire. We know they must have been truly decimated as Moff Gideon has his hands on the Darksaber, which is a weapon mostly granted to the sole leaders of Mandalore. It also seems that either the planet was destroyed to a point where it is difficult to live there, or if that's not the case, there's an Imperial remnant there, or Mandalorians who are Imperial sympathizers who control it. We know the rest of them are scattered, and it's likely there are probably more remnants of Mandalorians, but they aren't in contact with each other. They remain in hiding for their own safety. So how is it then that our favorite Mando, Din Djarin, is going to go about rebuilding Mandalorian civilization? So there are two things I want to do here, right? There's one, I want to theorize about what could happen, and then two, I want to pull from the cartoons and the books, which already covered the rise of the Mandalorians. So first, here's the theory. Din Djarin is going to rebuild Mandalorian civilization. So first, let's establish a motive, right? What do you think his motive is, Zach?
I mean, for anyone who's watched the show, the man's obsessed with his culture, right? Even to the point where he doesn't even want to take off his helmet in front of a droid because robots are people too, all right? This can't happen. I don't care if I'm on the cusp of death right now. He goes out of his way to leave resources with the tribe for future generations. But when he comes across Bo-Katan and other Mandalorians, he doesn't seem as eager to retake the planet. He believes that there's many more Mandalorians out there. Well, maybe not many. I'm just kind of being hopeful for the guy. He feels like he owes the Mandalorians or the Watch his life, and it would be in the best interest of the Watch's survival to team up with whatever Mandalorians there are left to eventually take back the homeworld.
Yeah, like there's no doubt the rebuilding of the Mandalorians is basically the first thing after, delivering Baby Yoda that's in his mind. So we have his motive. He obviously just wants to do it, but how is he going to do this, right? Really what it comes down to is Djarin solving the question as to Baby Yoda's origins and then gathering enough forces in order to retake and rebuild on Mandalore. So here's one theory I had, right?
Tell me about it.
Boba Fett's going to help rebuild Mandalore. It's kind of obvious that Boba Fett is going to play a bigger role in The Mandalorian than what he kind of was. He kind of just made a cameo appearance at the end of Episode 1, Season 2, right? Where he's just kind of staring at Mando as he drives across the desert, just being like, God damn it, there goes my armor yet again. Here's the thing, right, is if Boba Fett is going to help rebuild Mandalore, there's a lot of things that Disney could pull from to kind of, make that happen. Now, here's the confusing thing about Star Wars lore, right? There's two versions of it. There are Star Wars Legends, which is what George Lucas had continued to create alongside his films in the form of books, movies, and video games. And then there is Star Wars canon, right? Which is what Disney legitimizes as canon within their own creations. And because of this, there are a lot of different things that we thought we knew and now we don't. For example, Jango Fett, according to the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series, is just a bounty hunter who stole Mandalorian armor to use and is not actually a Mandalorian of the clans. This would also mean that Boba Fett, in the current canon, is not a Mandalorian. He's just another skilled imposter. However, in the Star Wars Legends storyline, Jango was actually a foundling taken in by the Mandalorians and was influential during civil conflicts on Mandalore before becoming a mercenary under Count Dooku. It's also in this Legends storyline that Boba Fett actually becomes the leader of Mandalore after surviving the Sarlacc pit from Return of the Jedi, and then went on to assist the Alliance in future conflicts after the original trilogy. So there's an argument about whether there will be a crossover between what Disney will say is canon and what happened in the Legends storyline. And what we want to look at is whether or not the two look like they're gonna go in the same direction.
Because Boba Fett did make an appearance in The Mandalorian, but there has to be more than the little cameo he has. So people think he might have also been stalking the person who bought it off the Jawas. Now he's like, now I gotta watch this guy too, because he just jacked up my armor. Like he yeeted himself off with it. Like, what am I? Okay.
Yeah, he's just went off world with it, so any hope of Boba getting it back is now gone.
Yeah, Boba's drip has just been yanked right from him. In the Legends storyline, Boba escapes the Sarlacc pit and the Jawas pick him up. They go for a few drinks, where he basically lays recovering until after the Battle of Endor, which is where he then takes up being a bounty hunter again, before returning to Mandalore, battling another Mandalorian called Fen Shisa, and then taking the role as the leader, right? But in the series, Boba's short appearance looks a lot more rugged. He doesn't have his armor anymore. And if he was to return to his bounty hunter ways, surely he would have kept his armor, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd think he'd hold on to it.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's wearing a similar garb to that of kind of like the Tusken Raiders. And the weapons he has on him are Tusken weapons. So maybe he was taken in by the Sand People, which is a very outdated and problematic name, after they found him almost dead, maybe? Question mark? If Mando was able to find the fake Mandalorian from across different planets, Boba probably knew about it too. So he's just never been able to get to it, or he's chosen not to. Cobb Vanth got the armor from Jawas, so what if Boba just gave it up? Sold it like he decided to retire from his rugged bounty hunter ways. But then, you know, by doing that, he won't have any connections to the Mandalorians, and how people might even be disrespectful towards him if think of him the same way they thought of Jango in the Clone Wars as just some imposter.
Yeah, so if Boba Fett was to make a return, it doesn't seem like he's going to help rebuild the Mandalorians. You know, he might use his experience with the Jedi to help send Mando to the next place to look for where Baby Yoda came from.
So Boba may not be on the path to take the role as leader of Mandalore, so him being the connection to the rest of Mandalore is probably out. So then how could he being Mando, rebuild if Boba isn't going to rise up, return to Mandalore, and then become the leader? So, one theory, what we know is that The Mandalorian is teasing introducing larger characters in the series. It's been confirmed by Bo-Katan that Ahsoka is going to make an appearance, and you better bet that Sabine Wren, a Mandalorian rebel, is probably going to be there too.
Love Ahsoka.
I love Ahsoka so much. She needs movie love. Anyways, if Ahsoka makes an appearance, you better bet that Sabine Wren, a Mandalorian rebel, will probably be there too.
Yeah, Sabine Wren was a very prominent character in Star Wars Rebels cartoon series, being a Mandalorian herself who helped spark rebellion against the Empire. And if anyone was to have a connection to existing Mandalorians after the Great Purge, it would probably be her.
We already know what happened at the Moon of Trask, where he found some fellow Mandalorians who had been spotted there. When Mando goes to find Ahsoka, Sabine's primary objective would be to help Ahsoka. Some have speculated that a lot of the action we see in the trailers are from a prison break scene, and if this is Sabine Wren, she might be trying to save Ahsoka, who is currently frozen in carbonite and in prison. That would make sense if Mando was to team up with them, as not only is Ahsoka a connection to where Baby Yoda could be from, but Sabine could also be a connection to more Mandalorian remnants. That, coupled with Bo-Katan, Death Watch, if Mando comes across them again, and the Alliance through Ahsoka, there could be a real chance at retaking Mandalore and having to help rebuild. But this all seems to play second fiddle to his mission with Baby Yoda, and honestly, at this point, it could probably play out either way.
But see, here's the thing. I don't think Disney would build up the scattered Mandalorians if they weren't going to lead with that, you know? Here's one final theory. Mando returns to Mandalore. Because really, the only thing that's missing is an excuse for him to go back. Hear me out here. One of the biggest mysteries in the series is how the Darksaber got into the hands of Moff Gideon. Bo-Katan was chosen by Sabine Wren in the Star Wars Rebels series to wield the Darksaber as the new leader of the Mandalorians rising up against the Empire. But obviously something happened which meant it left her grasp, probably during the Great Purge. For those who don't know, the Darksaber is a unique lightsaber created by the first Mandalorian Jedi. This means that there could be some Jedi history on the planet of Mandalore. If that happens to be the case, Djarin would have an excuse to go back to Mandalore. And if he has an excuse to do so, he has the opportunity to see what's really happening down there. And if he's there, potentially those Mandalorian Jedi ruins could be controlled by whatever Imperial influence force there is preventing Bo-Katan from returning. This could all lead to Mando having a reason to get involved with a plot to rise up and retake Mandalore. And this is where things get interesting, right? In the Star Wars Rebels cartoon, a lot of forces who side with the Empire are very conservative. They want to remain powerful like in the old times. Mando, with his connection to Death Watch and those old core values, could act as the bridge if there are any Mandalorians helping to maintain the status quo under an Imperial remnant or refusing to help rebuild. He could be the thing that connects the two sides to help rebuild whatever failure of democracy that would be. Regardless of what happens, I think he'll have a part to play. but that's all extreme speculation.
The Mandalorians are a pretty resilient bunch, okay? Throughout all major Star Wars fiction, there's always some rival or hidden faction ready to pounce and rise up for this warrior civilization. So we know that if there are more groups of Mandalorians, they would all probably be of the same mindset to rebuild Mandalore, right? So gathering resources isn't the problem. What we would really need is to find out how the actual planet of Mandalore is.
Like, from what we know, the Mandalorian steel of Beskar was ravaged from the planet. The client in season 1 says it's easier to find Beskar than it is to find Mandalorians. So either the steel has been completely mined and there's no more left of it in existence apart from what is still in circulation, of which the Imperials would still have a lot of, or the mines are under the control still of an Imperial remnant who has access to it. If the latter is true, which is probably the case because otherwise the planet would be completely uninhabitable, it means that Mandalore is currently occupied. So really it just needs to be taken back again.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of simply liberating any people there may be left or simply hiding until many more generations outnumber their enemies. The Mandalorian Code also means taking in children who have been left to their fate by raiders, wars, or whatever means left them as orphans, right? They accept people into their clan.
And as Mando continues on his journey to reunite Baby Yoda with his people, his legend as this fantastic Mandalorian kicking ass and taking names will spread. And it may inspire more to either join the Mandalorians or whatever remnants there are of the Mandalorians to rise up and be more brave about doing their work. Plus, even if Sabine Wren and Ahsoka aren't a part of the series, Mando will probably come into close contact with the Alliance Network, who will be more than willing to assist in any effort to quash Imperial remnants.
Mando will eventually visit Mandalore. It's probably only a matter of time since his culture means so much to him. Maybe once he reunites Baby Yoda with his people, he'll be inspired to visit his home planet. And once the legend of what Mando does spreads, he will probably act as an inspiration and will allow others to rise and take back their home planet. Because, you know, the Star Wars universe, nobody can live happily or free because they're always owned by somebody.
So here's what's gonna happen. Right? Mando will find Baby Yoda's people, spreading the legend of this amazing Mandalorian while he does all this badass stuff. He will join up with Boba Fett and other remnants of the Mandalorians. He will reunite all the lost and disconnected tribes across the different systems. Then, once united with whatever forces he gathers, he will take back Mandalore, and then he will rebuild Mandalorian civilization. But we'll just have to wait and see whether this happens in this season, or whether we'll be waiting a little while longer for the Mandalorians to return. I mean, given the amount of money that's being, pumped into the Mandalorian series, I doubt that they're going to have that big climactic moment of where Mando rebuilds Mandalorian civilization in the second series.
Yeah, not until, season 10.
Yeah, however long it goes. And to be honest, I like the Mandalorian. So the longer we spend with Mando doing his bounty hunting jobs, the better.
It's basically a space western. I'm down for more of it.
Yeah,
Just
dude.
Put it into my mouth. I'll take it. Look, I've got my issues with the Star Wars franchise, but the Mandalorian is a nice fresh take on things. So 100%. You know what? I welcome it.
Okay, here's the thing. I love the Mandalorian because I want to know what happens outside of the Jedi storylines, right?
Please, I love characters not holding a goddamn lightsaber. Yeah. I don't need any more of them. I don't need any more new people to pick up a lightsaber and find out somehow they're connected to Luke Skywalker, because that's what Star Wars has become.
I mean, yes, absolutely. I just want more stories that aren't too Jedi focused. Well, anyway, there you have it. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to more of season 2? Do you think the Mandalorians will fizzle out or rise again? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe to get more content like this every day. Thank you guys for watching. I've been Callum, and this is my friend Zach.
Live long and prosper.
We'll catch you next time. You gotta cut that, man, because we're gonna get massacred.
Oh, let them come. I am ready.
Catch you next time, guys.
Bye, nerds.